Welcome to Hell, the podcast for sinners, where you send us your tales of iniquity and we offer our infernal judgment.
So you died, get over it, we have. Honey, you think you're the first one to choke on your crush's bathwater?
Little Saltburn reference for you there. Wipe that mouth, throw on a bathrobe and head through the fiery gates for a good old-fashioned gossip with me, Daniel Fox, comedian, scented candle connoisseur and Hell's resident receptionist.
And me, Dane Buckley, comedian, mouth breather and lapsed angel.
Darling! Guess what?
What?
It is another very special episode this week.
Nice.
We've got a new arrival.
I can hear her coming down the shaft.
Said the bishop to the bishop. They will be here any second and we'll be finding out about what a naughty little sinner she's been while we process her through the unholy gates. Why don't you tell us all about her, Dane?
In the Devil's Little Red Book today is a comedian, actress, storyteller and Edinburgh Fringe Best Show nominee. She was a finalist in the BBC New Comedy Awards and the Funny Women Awards. Her show Marge, which critics called a phenomenal hour of storytelling witchcraft, is on tour across the UK this spring. She is a proud native Shetlander and a recent mutton enthusiast. Welcome to Hell, Marjolein Robertson.
Welcome to Hell, Marjolein.
Did I say it right? Reset.
Rested, yeah.
Rested.
I'm so happy I'm dead.
Yeah, welcome. How was your trip down?
Oh, it was a longer than I thought. Choked a bit.
Yeah, flying down the chute. Marjolein, at the start of every episode, it's a tradition here in Hell, we have a little tipple. So I've got this for you, Dane. Marjolein, you were doing a show this evening very, very glamorously, so you've opted for a mocktail.
Because you're professional.
Because I'm boring.
So I have got you. So, right, before we begin, Dane,
Yeah.
I'm calling this
Okay.
Devil's Spa Water.
Right.
You have a Devil's Spa Water mocktail. It is a virgin Devil's Spa Water, which means we've popped a few virgins in it. Everybody have a sip. Tell me what's
they're
in
disgusting and very strong. Here's one. So I'll just...
here. I like a vile drink. However...
Oh, no, I think you've continued that tradition.
Oh, really? I think I've done quite nicely here.
Maybe because of my cherry menthol chewing gum.
It won't help.
Oh, no, cucumber gin. What was that gorgeous kind of saccharine taste coming through?
Sugar, yeah.
The gum.
Yeah, that's you chewing on your gum.
That is, for you, that is quite good.
Thank you very much. Marjolein, how's your mocktail version?
I like it. It tastes like cucumber.
Yes.
I have a really bad sense of taste, so
You picked up cucumber.
I got that one
But
because
did you steal
I'm
that from
copying.
me saying it?
Yeah, and also I got a little teaser
It is nice though,
before.
because normally yours tastes like acid.
I like an acidic drink.
It
Dane
just
likes
feels
a sweet
strong,
drink.
though.
Do you know what? I would have this without a sugar syrup. I put a sugar syrup in it for you.
Right.
There is a classic sugar syrup.
Nice.
There is cucumber infused Isle of Harris gin. I've put in our ones. You have a sort of cool mint cucumber
Right.
selection.
That is not a cheap cucumber. That is M&S.
Thank you.
Organic.
Yeah.
It's an organic M&S, handed to me by Tom Allen himself, hand delivered to the door. And I also put a little bit of dry vermouth in that. So it's essentially a cucumber martini,
Right.
slightly sweetened for your baby's palate.
Thank you.
And you have a mocktail of a cucumber martini. That's what we've gone for there.
I basically got cucumber water.
Yeah, basically.
I
we're
like
bougie.
it. Thank you for
Spa
my cucumber
water.
water.
Okay.
Right. Ready to
Right.
begin?
Yeah.
We want to ask you, how do you think you died?
Right. So
Oh my
I-
God, that was gorgeous.
Really
Right.
beautiful way to begin.
Right, can you roll your R's?
Right.
Right. We'd have to leave if we
Okay.
couldn't. Like, I feel like
Yeah,
it's,
we'd have to cancel the podcast. So sorry. How do you think you died, Marjolein?
Well, I know when I die.
Oh.
I've worked that out. I'm 94 years old. So I know I don't look it. 94 years old, and I reckon that it'll likely be a heroin overdose.
Oh,
Okay.
at 94.
Well, I think by the time you get to that age, you should try everything because what's going to happen, you know?
Right.
You're on your experiential journey at that
Yeah,
point.
you're like, what am I going to lose?
Yeah. Is that
Cash in the Attic episode 1059.
on just bombing MDMA while you
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
it? In what order are you trying drugs at in your 90s? How far in are we at this point?
We're quite far in, to be honest.
Yeah, heroin is not the beginning.
I would maybe just keep like microdosing DMT till the end of my days, because then you'll never see death coming. You'll just have a fine time with machine elves.
I think I might start mushrooms around my 80s in a microdosing way.
They're lovely. I recommend them highly.
You can grow, they like grow here, don't they, in this country?
Oh, they grow all over Shetland. Like,
Do they?
People don't believe me.
What a
right?
magical isle.
People don't believe me about this story, but one time I went to go mushroom picking. Not. And I know where they grow, and I went to this patch where I knew there'd be a good bunch of them because there's sheep around. And when I went that day, they were all gone. like there was so many. I knew there'd be so many. They're all gone. And I looked across the field, and I swear to God, although he's not going to look after me anymore, the sheep were all just like in a line, like nose to tail, leaning on a fence, like tripping balls. And they're all leaning on the same fence, so the whole fence was bowing over. And I'm like, the sheep are having my trip.
That is so funny. Just like looking blissed out, seeing God. Dane, you have worked. I can't believe I'm the one bringing this up for you this early on in the episode. You've worked with the people.
I have.
You've worked with the elderly, sort
Yeah.
of care homes and stuff. Is there a lot of drugs going on?
Not that
Okay.
kind of drug.
Oh.
There's a lot of Seneca. There's a lot of anti-constipation drugs.
Okay.
I don't think there's heroin. But listen, we could
I
start
feel
at
like
home.
there probably is a lot of weed happening, I would imagine.
I haven't
It's
worked there for a
increasingly
while,
anyway.
but I don't know.
My mum has also worked a lot in care homes, and she
Yeah.
always has stories about the amount of like sex going on in care
Sex
homes.
and alcohol. I once
Yeah.
took like a busload of 50 Irish pensioners, and the amount of times I had to break them up in toilets, hotels, like having affairs in a cafe, like massive fights. I mean, good on them. I was
Yeah,
really
what a
proud of them.
wonderful thing.
In the hotels.
Yeah.
Why are you in the cuckold chair? Why were you there?
And is that going to be part of your 90s?
Yeah.
Heroin and orgies?
Yeah, I mean, do you know that STIs is worse than the over 50s?
Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
It's wild.
Heroin
it.
overdose isn't a glamorous death, though. So maybe like, don't eat yellow food
Stop.
beforehand.
A candle has fallen from the
Oh,
candelabra.
as I said that.
Yes.
As I said that.
That is the ghost of one of your pensioners.
But she's still alive. Look at her.
Pop her back in.
Oh, I have to
Said
do
the
the
bishop to the
physical
other
work.
bishop. Okay. Momentary pause while Dane. In fact, we'll keep it in. I'm just going to commentate it happening. Dane is clasping our very expensive real wax candles, twisting it into the hole,
Candle whisperer.
whispering to the candle. It's at a tilt,
And she's back in her
and
chair.
she's back in the room.
With the next question.
Okay, so you're arriving to us in a relatively blissed out state.
Yeah. Best time of
Lovely.
my life.
You're at the time
a
of
good
your
exit, though.
fucking life.
You have to go.
Marjolein, for the look of the thing, and this is purely a funding exercise, we just have to write something down, we won't actually put you through it, but if we had to torture you, what is your personal idea of hell?
Being inside like a shopping centre.
Like a proper
Oh,
concrete
yeah.
big...
Yeah. Well, like, I went to go to a cinema in London the other day,
Yeah.
and I went in to see a film, and then they were like, "Excuse me, this is a private members club."
Oh!
And I was like, "What?" And then they're like, "Get it." And they said to try
Westfield?
It was hell. It was just like, no offense.
So many people.
It's horrible.
No offence. It's famously where you were born.
But it's just like, I hate shopping. I like to go and get the thing, leave.
Yes.
I hate browsing. I hate the fact that if you take it, they're like, we need money now. So
Right, okay. I'd like to get very specific. Are you walking around the sort of aisles of the shopping centre, being buffeted by people, or are you going into the shops themselves?
that feels like going into the different circles of hell. You know?
Yeah, okay.
Like, you know, like in
So
Dante's...
you went to Westfield East. You went to the Stratford one, I think, right? Because the Shabu one's a little bit more.
A little bit more bougie.
Yeah, it's like each shop is like a specific kind of torture.
Yes. So
Like, you
level
go
one is like that you enter through the gate.
And H&M, you go in there and they're like, oh, did you think you look pretty? Because you look like
Oh my
this.
god. And then level 9 you get is when you go to Zara. And they're like, you're like, do you have this in a size medium? And they're like, you fucking disgusting bitch. You filthy whore. You think we have a size medium in this store? And then they hit you around the face.
And then you go to River Island and they're like, we know you didn't buy anything, but we're going to cover you in sequins anyway.
Yeah. We've given you... Oh, you like this t-shirt? Turn it around. Rihanna's face is on it. You thought this was a nice cut of fabric? Here's Beyonce doing a pose on the front. Didn't ask for it, but she's there. That's very interesting. I love a shopping centre. I don't think people would think this about me, but I love a great big corporate shopping centre. I think it feels like you're in a spaceship
Yeah.
or a cruise ship on land, and I would like to live in one.
Maybe that's why I hate them, because I've got this fear of aliens. Like fear,
Oh,
like
do you
intense
really?
fear. Maybe it's like flashbacks to being abducted when I'm walking around this like brightly lit.
Shall we pepper some aliens into your shopping centre scenario? A few
Horrible.
sort of grey creatures wandering around.
I hate them so much. Like I can't explain
Really?
this. Like,
Did you ever watch the
vivid...
film Signs?
Yeah, and
That's the
it's
scariest film I've ever seen.
it's the scariest one. When he's with the knife.
Oh, when
looking
it just
under the
walks
door.
out from behind the hedge, though.
Oh, at the children's party.
Did you watch that?
I remember I was more focused on Joaquin Phoenix's beauty at the time.
Say that name again.
Huckwin?
Haquin.
Huckwin.
Yeah, Haquin Phoenix.
What do
Don't-
you-
Jaquine.
Yes, it's Jay Quine.
What do you call it?
It's Joaquin.
Joaquin.
Peahunix.
For Phoenix.
Pianix.
I don't see the names. I see the beauty on the face.
Dane, you've stayed very suspiciously silent on this. Where do you stand on a shopping centre? Don't sit on the
This
fence.
was okay, fine. I can't climb fences, but this will surprise you. The food halls do it for me. The Westfield food halls are good.
They are good.
They are good. Did you make it to that level?
No, because I don't like choice. I like to just be presented with food.
Marilyn's
I'd be-
running around screaming.
I
You will
love
hate
a
the
prison.
food levels then. Okay. 'Cause there's 9 types of chicken. As well, we've gone there with a list. We've done our research. It's Philomena working today because she does the dressing just right. We've literally gone there.
Westfield, London, one of the only places to get a Cinnabon in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And end of podcast. Okay.
Okay. So
That is a good how I'm very clearly watching you running around, and it's endless. It's just limbo.
quite a lot of hot men as well, I would add.
But they're usually with someone who's dragging them around.
Yes.
Where's the obstacle?
That's never stopped him
That's
before.
never stopped me before. You can snap an arm as quick as look at her. Right. Why do you think the devil's got you on her list? So what would you say are like your worst qualities?
Well, I read the Bible one time.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. You've answered that one.
Moving on.
Have you read Revelations?
Yes.
Bits.
Right. So like as a small child growing up on a sheep farm in a small island
Yeah.
and taking everything literally, when it's like, and then the lamb returns.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were talking about Jesus. I just thought it's like a literal lamb. So I was like, must be springtime. And then it's like, and the lamb starts opening the seals. And I'm like, oh my God, like just imagine a lamb with a knife, like cutting open seals. And I said, it's horrific. But I really resonated with the best character, the whore of Babylon.
Love her work.
Thank you.
The
Because
name
to
you
a
used to
point,
dance into. Now, Karen.
but I just got to the point when I was like convinced as a child that I was her. I know I'm vain. But I was like
Ooh.
convinced. I was like, if I ever open my legs, letting a willy push out a bairn, that'll be the Antichrist.
Yes. Yeah, lovely.
So I think I'm the whore of Babylon and I'm just coming back home again.
Where's the crime?
Where's the crime
Show
in
me the
that?
crime.
So have you got a name picked out for any future child, and is it Lucifer?
Yeah, middle name Prince of Darkness.
Yes.
Nice.
I am. Yeah, and I don't know because I like when I was at uni, I remember doing a thing called the Year of the 52.
Oh, what's that?
Well, I was 3 weeks into the year and I was looking at my calendar and I had like 3 different names, one for each week, and I was like, I've pulled someone for every week of the year so far.
Oh.
I was writing their names down, just in case you need to tell them that
Just one a week.
there's a
I was about
baby.
to say you did that with the days of the week, didn't
Yeah,
you?
the days.
And on Wilton's Day, I had Jeff.
On Ash Wednesday, I had a senior citizen.
Craig David moves too slowly.
Well, I absolutely love that.
Thank you. And then I was like, I'm gonna keep this going.
Yeah.
It wasn't all sex. Like of the 3 names, like only 2 of them were anal. But like but I was like, I'm gonna bag off with someone, like get with someone for 52. Like
Nice.
a kiss counted. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of work during term time because when I was in Shetland, then you've been there already.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask, just hopping back one step, how many large shopping centres are there in the Shetlands?
We have one shopping centre and I can manage it.
Okay, it's not like a
Right.
mega one.
No, it's like a privately owned one.
Ooh.
And how many men, and can you manage them?
Yes, and I have. But I'm related to a lot, and they have been fine as well.
When you say privately owned, are we talking bougie elite luxury, or are we talking it is a small barn?
This is not being recorded, is it?
Not at all, Marilyn.
They're doing upgrades,
Okay.
and there's some lovely shops in there actually. Because that's the thing about the Shetland shops. None of them are chain shops.
Yes.
Nice.
So,
So
that,
it's like baked goods made by a woman whose name you know.
yes,
Love
yes.
that.
And you're like, not hers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Isn't the guy that... Okay, this is so pathetically niche. Isn't the guy, Banjo Beale, who won Interior Design Masters, doesn't he live in the Shetlands?
Does he live in Shetland?
I thought he lived in Shetland. Oh, he lives on one of the Scottish islands.
I don't
They're
think
all
he
the
lives in
same
Shetland.
to you, aren't they?
He definitely designed something in the Shetlands, and it was like a big deal.
No, it's just Shetland, no S at the end. That's why you're in hell.
Ah! You've been spurned.
Well, no, I'm crying.
We'll move on to the next question.
Didn't he design something in Shetland?
I don't know, but I'll tell you who on IMDb they say lives in Shetland.
Oh my god, the candle's
Oh,
thrown itself
God.
down again.
Ghosts
But she's
everywhere.
still alight.
I think you need to
Yeah.
pull
I'm sorry, I think I did my degree in
I think you
candleization.
fucked it up, right? Haven't you? Maybe we need to like pull up the blue tack and like read.
Maybe we need to get up out of our chair.
I don't. You know.
Give me orders all day.
I'm here.
I don't like it when they fight.
On to the next.
Okay.
On IMDb, it says that Tom Selleck owns 3 homes. One in Los Angeles, one where he was born, and one in Shetland.
And have you slept with him? Yes.
Hot daddy, isn't he?
Not yet. I haven't found his house.
Okay, you've
I've
never seen
actually
him.
every now and then I see like a big, he's at the end of the road. I'm like, Tom.
Tom? I imagine it must be like a big house. Well, actually, although maybe he's lent in for a nice sort of cottagecore thing.
It can't be. We would ken. We would know. We
Yeah.
know whenever anyone of note comes to Shetland, we all know. Brangelina came in their big yacht one time.
Did they?
Everyone lost their minds.
I would love to go to Shetland.
Okay, so what would you say are your vices or your guilty pleasures?
We mentioned mushrooms earlier on.
Yes.
I really do enjoy them.
Okay. For the police who are listening, I would never. I'm really interested in microdosing mushrooms. I met a model during an advertising shoot, clang not to brag, who said that she was microdosing
Hand model.
mushrooms and she, listen, buy a Samsung flip phone, guys. And she was microdosing mushrooms and she said it had changed her life and she was living in a permanent state of bliss. And I think I might start.
Yeah, well, I've not managed to microdose yet.
We are macrodosing.
So yeah, because the first time I did it, I was doing another podcast. So
Oh, wow.
I not name
Your
dropped
first
my
ever
husband.
time of doing it?
Oh, well, what happened was I went with my cousin and we were very excited. I was going to go record this podcast. My cousin was going to come watch because there was an audience in, and we went for dinner before I went to the
This
Japanese
is quite
restaurant.
a recent record.
Yeah.
You can say Richard fucking Herring. If
How do you
to,
know?
As you mentioned it earlier.
Oh yeah, that's my name drop. You got models. I've got.
Hey guys, if
50
you like
plus.
comedy, listen to Richard Herring. Ugh. Anyway,
I feel like, though...
and you did that live? Sorry, completely railroaded you there.
Do you want to finish or?
No.
I was going to say, I feel like you'd be up for ayahuasca.
Oh well, I would like to try it, but I heard that originally, like they would traditionally, it was the shaman
Yeah.
figure who would take the ayahuasca and then come back to you with their information. But they made it like a white person's holiday. Like, I'm gonna take it myself.
I think in some cultures they've done that. I mean, yeah, it depends. It's been taken over by white people. But yeah, no, there are definitely ones where you can do it and you have divine juice. I think in like Finnish culture, they had a shaman that would go and do it and bring back gifts. And
the mushrooms have been peed on by reindeers.
yeah, do you know this story?
Yes, and that's where Father
Yeah.
Christmas possibly
Yes.
comes from.
An
Or
old man in the sky getting
Papa
gifts.
Yule or whatever we're calling
Yeah.
him. We must take a brief pause while I tuck in this piece of hair.
Do you know what? I've been subtly fighting with this piece of hair for about 10 minutes. Thank you, darling.
Okay. That was on Dane's head for anyone listening. Rather than watching, I just had to tuck in a little piece of guinea pig
My
hair.
penis head. Yeah.
Dane's head. Yes, okay. I would love an ayahuasca journey. I do think you are one is known for shitting themselves during that. Not glamorous.
Well, as we learned on an earlier podcast, I'm not above that.
You're not
I'm
beyond
not
that as a
beyond
woman.
that.
Marjoleine's face. Okay, and I'm approaching getting tipsy off this drink, so
Yeah.
do forgive me.
No, it's just the first time I took hallucinogenics. It was so intense because I didn't realize it's hallucinogenics.
Yeah.
I just thought I was smoking a normal cigarette.
Oh, really?
And then my brain started to like bubble and pop, and all these feelers grew out my head, and they're touching everyone, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
Sorry,
oh
what was
my
in the
God.
cigarette? Like opium?
It was back in the legal high days.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Messed up. I don't know
Yeah.
if you ever
I did
played
not
around.
ever. Never. Do you know what? Never have I ever a drug
No.
other than alcohol and caffeine and
I-
Imodium instant melts.
and
But other
fame.
than that,
And fame.
and fame.
I was going to say maybe I shouldn't be talking about this, but then this is a podcast to talk about bad things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's totally fine.
Okay. So yeah, and then my feelers kept touching everyone in the party, and I was so embarrassed, and I was like, I'm so sorry, because they're like
were coming
examining
out of you.
people out my head,
Wow.
like Medusa almost, but they
Love
were like
that.
plants, and I was just so ashamed. And then I went to go dance to Rihanna, and because I needed to ground myself, and then I was just freaking out because I was like, I could be dancing on the top of a skyscraper in a basement in front of my mum and dad. I don't know where I'm dancing. And then it just all kind of melded and became really nice, and I had a lovely
Yeah.
time.
Lovely.
But then I had such a lovely time. I was lying on a bed with all these people, and I was like, oh my God, I've shot myself.
I've been there. It's hard, isn't it?
Well, and everyone was like, because everyone else was on pills, they're all hugging each other. And I was like, don't touch me. And I was like kicking people away because I was like, I stink. So I ran to go check. And in every room of the party, there was people in every room. And the only room that was quiet was the living room where my best friend's like new boyfriend was passed out on the couch. So I ran up like away as far as I could from the door. I was wearing a full-length dress. I was like pulling up the dress to check if I had pooped. When my best friend walks in and just sees me standing next to her passed out boyfriend pulling up my...
Oh, you hussy. It's the whore of Babylon yet again. What's she doing? Oh, she shat herself. It's dribbling down her leg. I'm going to make a very serious confession here.
Yeah.
/ brag.
Yeah.
Never shat myself, guys.
But I hadn't.
Never a skid mark, never shat myself.
Gosh,
That's
I really?
amazing.
In my entire life.
Even as a young bottom.
Not ever.
Well, the year is young.
The year is... Every year...
we've got
we
you day
approach
drinking.
closer to danger. But never shat myself yet.
But
And that's on 7 coffees a day.
I do want to say, like, I hadn't.
Oh, you hadn't?
But
You
this thing,
hallucinated
so
shit?
when my friend
Oh.
came in, she was like, I see what's happening here. And I was like, no. I was like, it's not what it looks like. I think I've shot myself. And she came over and she's like, firstly, you haven't. And she's
Wow.
like, secondly, I had the same thing when I got really wasted once, where your body's so relaxed. It's like the only way I could be this relaxed is if I'd pooped.
Shat myself.
God.
Because that's apparently the most relaxed we can ever feel.
Oh, you must feel so relaxed all the time, Dane. Hi, Marjolein. Now is the time for the part of the podcast we like to call What's the Worst Thing You've Ever Done That You're Willing to Own Up to on this podcast? Abbreviated to you have to tie with to top. Very catchy little acronym there.
Also a link
Acronyms.
there between scat, isn't there?
Yes, I'm scatting. What's the worst thing you've ever done that you're willing to own up to on this podcast, Marjolein?
So I think there's a lot of things that we deem as bad or society deems bad that are not. And I don't know. I feel like this is like a scary avenue to go down on podcasts where I'm like, I'm going to bring back magic mushrooms and say that they're good for us.
Well, they were like on the front cover of one of the major health doctors publications recently for mental health.
Yeah.
And like psychiatry. So they are good for us.
Inquirer.
Yes, the National Enquirer.
When I took them, because I was saying I took them in podcast, I didn't. Well, what happened was I went for the Japanese meal for the Richard Herring podcast. So I think it's my ADHD. And I'm like, I must finish the story. Sorry. Is this bad?
No, go on.
Is that being bad?
This is the worst thing you've ever done.
Worst thing I've ever done. That's
Japanese
splitting them up.
meal. Are we in Wagamama?
No, it was an individually owned establishment.
We're all about supporting individual establishments at Welcome to Hell.
So good. I'm not doing anything wrong.
Okay, go on.
And and my cousin was like, "Can you order? I don't know what we're getting." So I just ordered the food because I'd been there before. And we're like halfway through the meal, and my cousin's like, "Do you know there's shrimps in this dish?" And I am super allergic to shellfish.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's shellfish.
You
in the
are Old
cocktail.
Testament, aren't you?
This squid cocktail is. Oh yeah. Wow.
And then I was like freaking out. But then we had to go to the recording, and on the way to recording, we got distracted by a hippie shop where this man sold us this bar. Probably said too much. Bar of like magic mushroom infused chocolate. It's like, and it's a kind of new magic mushroom from Africa. It's like,
Okay.
you don't need to upsell. We're going to buy the chocolate. And he's like, if you eat the whole thing, you'll go to another dimension.
Wow.
And I walked in, met Richard Herring for the first time in my life. And he's like, what have you done today? And I was like, just bought a bar of magic mushroom chocolate. And he's like, oh my God, please say you didn't eat it. Please say you haven't eaten that for the
why?
podcast. Because he was like, I think they've had guests before who've taken things and then been not.
Right.
They've been like, they've just not been able to chat and it's been
Right.
unusable as an episode.
You've been licking the wall in the corner or something. Yeah.
But then I was like, no, Richard, I would never be that unprofessional. I would never, ever do that. I was like, but I have eaten a lot of shellfish and I'm very allergic.
So like puffing up in front of his face.
Which is why I have feelers coming out of me. Yeah.
Do you know they still come out now and then?
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
When you see a
just
hot
in
guy.
a sort of vague feeling of like, oh, they're here, or you couldn't actually see them.
I maybe know the worst thing I've ever done.
Okay.
Oh, go on.
Tell me about what happened with Richard Herring,
Okay, so
and I'm going to make a mental note about the feelers. The worst thing you've ever done.
but yeah, so we got through the podcast and I only started having a reaction at the end. So me and my cousin went straight back to the house because we were meant to go out drinking, but I was like, I'm having a reaction. And we were sat in the house for about half an hour and we were like, doesn't seem to be getting much worse.
Yeah.
Should we eat the chocolate?
I'm entering anaphylactic shock, but it's time to see the face of some demons
Well,
and angels.
We did. We like apparently because neither of us, it turns out, had done mushrooms before that point.
Right. Wow. So you went in.
We went in, and our friend who's also in the house was like, why are you taking so much? And we're like, what do you mean? And she's like, good luck, guys. And when we were coming up, then we were staring at this cat, the real cat, and it turned into like a jungle. And I was like, this is lovely. But my cousin stayed a bit too long, and it turned into the gateway to hell.
Oh my God! Right.
And here you are.
I
Welcome.
know.
And then this podcast began. Okay.
Heroin.
Heroin. What's the worst thing you've ever done? Tell me.
It's just a stupid thing.
Yeah,
It's a
perfect.
very stupid thing. I don't know if it's too dark.
Nothing's dark
I'm
enough.
telling stories I'm not meant to be telling here. So I was on a night out in... This is really dark, actually.
Okay. Have a think. Is it too dark for what you want to put out into the world? Nothing is dark enough for us.
But it's like, it's a dark situation.
Okay. Imagine yourself in Graham Norton in 5 years' time. Do you want him to know this about you?
It's not what I did.
Are there dead children involved?
No.
Then go for it.
Okay. We were at a bar in New Zealand, me and this other Shetlander, and Shetlanders have no stranger danger awareness. And in the bar was...
Because no one's a stranger.
Yes.
It's like the dodos in New Zealand who literally hunters arrived and they were like, hi, because they'd never met a predator in their lives.
That is me. I gave someone my phone yesterday in London because like, do you want a picture? But I was like,
But
I
Marilyn,
didn't
never
even...
do that again. They will cycle away.
And I was like,
Dane's
I didn't even want a
agent had
picture.
her phone snatched out of her hand mere
Literally.
days ago.
And my first thing was like, oh my God, can you delete the dick pics I sent of you to check? That's my first concern.
Dane runs everything by his age,
Yeah, everything.
including his grinder.
I'm not
Hopefully-
giving her 10%.
I'm so
Go on.
sorry, carry on.
And then, so we are in New Zealand. There's an angry chef in the bar. There's 2 guys who want to talk to us and 3 guys who are trying to sell us drugs.
Yeah.
And my friend, at one point, we're playing pool with the angry chef. My friend goes to the toilet, comes back. We've had 2 beers and a shot at this point. And she comes back, it's like, I don't feel well. I feel really dizzy.
Yeah.
And she'd left her pint unattended when she'd been in the toilet. And she's like, I think someone spiked my pint.
Oh, no.
And I was like, no way. So how I checked,
That is a very funny moment. Thank you for laughing there.
I checked by tasting her drink.
Oh,
You
wow.
tasted her drink
I was
to
like-
check for Hypnol? Or
I was like, oh, has it been
Roofies.
spiked? So I took a sip of mine, took a sip of hers, and took a sip of mine. I was like, yeah, that's not right.
that taste? Is it an almond taste, I've read, when roofies are in a drink?
It was like a different
I've heard
kind
that,
of
I think.
fizziness almost. That is like, but it's
Oh.
so...
Ring in if you know. Ring in. Right?
Yes. Do write in.
When you're spiking drinks,
When you're spiking a drink, does it taste a bit fizzy? Judgment at hellpod.com.
I think almond is death poison.
You're right. You're right.
Oh, it's antifreeze.
Almond kills.
Antifreeze tastes like almond.
But also
or marzipan.
old-fashioned poison they used to use back in the day.
taste
Yeah,
the
when I
almond.
murdered my third husband, he tasted almond. Carry on.
But yeah, you just feed almond and everything, so they never see it coming.
They never know.
Especially the allergic
They're
to
like my
nuts.
almond wife and then death.
But yeah, the reason is like if someone ever thinks a drink's been spiked, don't test it. That's
What a dreadful idea.
So I was like, oh yeah, that's not right. And my friend started to feel woozy, says like, let's get back to the hostel because at that point we had only just met everyone in the bar, and
Because
we're like,
that's a safe zone.
Yeah, yeah.
but it's like you know when people are like, not all men. I'm like in that situation.
All men.
We
And some
we
women.
didn't know who we could turn to in that bar.
Yeah.
3 guys trying to sell us drugs, but like get in the car with us and exchange numbers. But to be
Oh.
honest, seemed friendliest. Angry chef who we were playing pool with, or the
Yeah.
2 guys just watching us in the corner. It's like everyone was like,
But it's New Zealand, you know?
she probably did it to herself.
They were all Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
How
yeah.
did that turn out?
So what happened was I was like, let's get out of here. And I was just like, because it was the start of a night. So we're like, we're going to go home and get changed so we can come out clubbing because everyone had talked about this club. So I was like, we're going to go back to hostel, get changed, come back. So we left the club and the bar we were in, and it was attached to a chippy. So we jump into the chippy to phone a taxi, and these ladies, well, we were going to walk home, but one of them followed us at the pub.
Right.
So we jump into a chippy, and the ladies in the chippy were like, oh, let's phone you a taxi, because they just saw my friend and just thought she was drunk, because at
Yeah,
this point she was
right.
getting woozy. Phone us a taxi, jump in the taxi.
Yeah.
And as we're coming out the taxi and walking into the hostel, my brain started going boop, 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 and the feelers
Out
came
came
out.
the
And I was like,
feelers.
Every time the feelers.
I was like, no.
Can you please describe... The feelers are such a character in this podcast now.
Have you watched The Last of Us?
No.
TV show? Because
Oh, the
there's a
zombie
lot...
apocalypse.
Huh?
Where it's like fungal.
Yeah. And the feelers and the mushrooms.
I'm imagining sort of beautiful sea creature.
Oh, I wasn't.
I'm imagining like glowing... What are they?
They're
Describe them
like
to us.
long and green, and
Yeah,
they've almost got like
that's how I imagine them.
like
Oh,
it's
they've got-
almost a mouse,
you are
but the mouse
Medusa.
is open and touch people.
So you're a Medusa in
Thank
those?
you. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said.
Were you
Roofies.
affected in any... Oh, the feelers came
The
out.
feelers, but I'd only had like a tiny sip.
God, she must have been
She
fucked.
spewed actually, and I was like, wait.
So it probably was spiked, which is scary.
Yeah, it's actually terrifying. That's why we were meant to stay in the town for a while, but we're like, let's get out of this town.
Well, in this case, the worst thing you've ever done is actually quite noble, but just a bit stupid. It wasn't actually immoral, but you actually just tried someone's poison to check if it was poison. Well, I'm just rounding this up. You're actually quite a good person.
I don't know, I'm probably hiding a lot of stuff.
Oh, you fucked your way through the Shetland island, but
As is my duty.
in my mind, the Shetlands was like, I know it's not, was like a scattering of small islands, but it's not. It's one big island.
No,
It's
no,
the south part
there's
of the
over
island,
100 islands.
but you just call it the Shetland.
We just got Shetland, yeah. Because
Which one of those were the ponies on?
most of the big ones. I used
between?
to actually, that's probably the worst thing I've ever done. I used to have a Shetland pony.
Why is that a bad thing?
'Cause
Are they a bit fucked
you
up?
eat
this
it?
is why I
You
won't have
roasted it?
children. I won't have children because I raised a Shetland pony and I made such a horrible pony. Like, I raised it to be such a bully. I don't know how I did this.
No, this is perfect because that's practicing for when you birth Lucifer.
Yeah, like it was. It arrived,
Maybe that was it.
It arrived, and then because we live in a croft, so like it was like, oh, we'll have a
Gorgeous.
Shetland pony on the croft, and I was like, one day I'll ride it, I'll lead it around. It was so grumpy. I loved to walk uphill and never downhill. So I'd walk up the hill and then I'd try and put downhill all day long, and it just would just stand, just like grumpy. And when I went to uni, I couldn't look after it anymore. He was called Mr. Roscoe. He was originally called Roscoe, but he stopped answering to anything other than Mr. Roscoe. And then when I went to uni, then we got other folk to look after him because other folk said, oh, we've got an elderly horse. His pal died. He needs a friend. So we're like, have Roscoe. That'll be nice. And then they had to get rid of Roscoe because he bullied their horse so much.
How funny if Satan was born to the whore of Babylon, but just by some trick of fate, he got born to a Shetland pony because that's who her first child was. Okay, it's the 21st century. The 7 deadly sins are outdated. Dane and I are on a mission as principal denizens of hell to rewrite them for the modern day. As a new arrival, we're allowing you to add us into that list. What are you throwing in the sin bin? What new sin would you like to add?
When someone ghosts me.
Ghosting.
yes.
I'm so with you.
Yeah.
Go on.
Because like I can't
I want
do
everyone to know that was the arm of my chair moving,
Liar.
not a rippling fart coming out.
Finally
Of
Liar.
joined us and shitting yourself.
Shut myself live.
Broke your shit,
I'm
Sharon.
gonna do it again, just so everyone knows. Okay.
You could
Tell
all
us.
be true.
Yeah, so I hate it. I hate it. I get really obsessed. I get so obsessed with people. I'm fine. And then when they don't text me back, I'm like, how dare you? Like, my dream scenario in life would be to have like 10 people or so into me. They message me all the time and I could leave it.
Oh, you're ghosting.
Yeah, and I
You're
can I
like,
can just like,
take it or
I'll
leave it.
reply when I need something. When someone goes to me, I'm like, how dare you?
Yeah. Ghosting
Yeah.
is. We've had a discussion about this
We
before
have.
because you think sometimes, especially in the modern day with the state that Grindr is in right now,
Yeah.
it's necessary.
Just because sometimes when you reject someone, it becomes much worse. And you might just say you're not my type, but then there's 15 messages about you being a bad person. So actually, sometimes a little polite French ghost is okay, I think.
But my maddest moments in my entire life have been when someone is ghosting me, and I will spend like, especially in my younger 20s, spent like a good 6 months like obsessing over someone. Whereas if they rip the plaster off and go, just not into it, it hurts for like a day.
Yeah.
And then you're over it and you don't feel insane anymore.
Yeah, people be like, oh, we'll see. Then I'm just like, oh. Actually, I heard a good thing recently, which is like, if someone does that to you, you should hold a funeral for them.
Oh, wow.
Let the ghost go. Lay it to rest.
Because you killed
What I
them.
would say, though, is crumbing is far worse. Crumbing is where you ghost, come back in for a few days with 2 messages, and then leave and
no.
do that.
So
Will
it
send
leads-
me
that is-
absolutely insane.
Scientists like have proven that with rats,
Yeah.
if you allow the rat, so if a rat presses a button and every time it presses the button it gets a treat, it will do it now and then.
Yeah.
If a rat presses a button and every 3rd, 4th, 5th time a treat is delivered, but not every time, it will press it constantly. Because we prefer it. It does something, it tickles our brain in a much more of like a
Right.
proper way if it's not consistent.
I am a rat.
We're all little rats.
You
Yeah.
like Toxic Men.
Oh my god,
Sexy
yes.
little 3 10 out of 10 rats in this room.
It's ridiculous. But I also think if you then ghost them, there's something about 3 weeks is a magic number. Where after 3 weeks, they're like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why don't you need me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I do need you
Oh, that's the amount of time for a ghost
to
to be
to
drawn
come
back
back.
in.
yeah,
Listen, guys, just be persistent.
21 days.
Be a
21 days.
poltergeist.
21
Don't-
days to break a habit.
Oh, I
Yeah.
swear to God, if you 21 days, I'm not gonna message them. They're just like, hi, remember me? And then
Might try that with my
continues.
dad. See if that he comes back. Each week, we invite our listeners to write in for their confessions and grievances for us to judge. Would you like to help us, referee?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be mother.
Got the body for it, as we've
I've
said.
got the luscious,
Got the hips.
fertile hips for this. Okay, here we go. Here's our letter for the week. Dear Daniel and Dane, my sister-in-law is a total fucking monster. For context, I am a woman in my late 30s, she is in her early 30s, and is now married to my younger brother. They've been together for 5 years, and she's been a brat for every single one of them. From causing drama at family events to treating my brother like trash, criticising our mother's cooking, and never ever saying thank you for gifts on Christmases and birthdays, I just hate her. On their wedding day, she was a true bridezilla. All her bridesmaids, me miserably included, were forced to spend our own money on these specific, super expensive, ugly dresses, while she kept bragging about the price of her ring, the fancy honeymoon they were going on, and making mean comments about my brother's suit and hair. Just before the ceremony was about to start, she sat on a bench where, I later learned, another guest had recently changed their baby. Not to mince words, when she stood back up, her ass was covered in shit. Her father, who's not particularly with it, didn't notice, and I decided not to tell her. Long story short, you could smell her all the way up the aisle, and half her wedding shots needed photoshopping because she looked like she'd shat herself. I am deeply satisfied, but am I the demon?
Ooh.
I'm going to say it straight out, not the demon.
Exactly, me too.
This girl sounds like a piece of shit.
I would say not the demon. If you've got an expensive wedding dress, you don't sit down on a bench.
Don't sit down.
You
But
don't.
also-
You don't even sit down to pee.
And surely check.
Yeah.
And
And don't be
also-
a bridezilla.
I think
Don't
the
be a
demon in
bridezilla.
the story is whoever changed their baby and left
What a
poop on a
move.
bench.
Like, where were we that there was no, like, baby changing facility?
The baby is the problem.
And then, like, not wiping up, not checking? They're like, oh, a bit of poop there, that's fine.
That baby's probably covered in shit. If they,
No.
I love that she went up the aisle, though. with
Unless
the
it was like,
shit.
yeah, literally
On the-
sashing up the aisle, super smug, hating her own husband,
Yeah.
marching up, her ass covered in. This poor fucking wedding photographer having to photo out.
The stench as well as she went.
Yeah, the
along-
waft.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything worse.
how would she not know?
Comeuppance, though, because, like, you know.
I mean,
Yeah.
I thought I had covered myself in shit, and I hadn't even.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
hadn't even. This woman's feelers didn't pick up anything.
She needs more drugs.
She needs more magic money. Yeah, okay, well, listen, Anonymous, not the demon
No.
in this
In
instance.
fact, good work.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to pop down from heaven to have a drink with us,
I was about to say, yeah.
come and have a Hell's Reception spa water, but generally, not the demon. Last but not least, before we process you, Marjolein, into the Inferno proper, we do ask new arrivals to answer a quick-fire eligibility survey. So, first answers only. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So just what the thought that comes to the
Okay.
front. 1. Silky or water horse?
Water horse.
Eurovision or Met Gala?
Eurovision.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Neeps or tatties?
Tatties.
Primark or Zara?
Zara.
Celt or Viking?
Viking.
Oh, Love Island or Traitors?
I'm no seen traitors.
Sounds like Love Island.
Yeah.
Daniel or Dane?
Daniel.
Oh!
I don't know why. It's because he's scarier. Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's
I
fair.
appreciate that so much. Thank you so much.
I feel like he'll come after me.
He
You'd
will.
just be
I'd
sad.
hug you. I'm a beautiful crier. He'd cut you. Okay, cottage or penthouse?
Cottage.
Vogue or Grazia?
Vogue.
Gaga or Beyonce?
Beyonce.
Hot or rich?
Hot.
Would you punch a child for $1 million?
Yeah.
Marjolein Robertson, welcome to hell. Welcome to hell. Marjolein is currently on tour across the UK with her show Marge, with dates running until the middle of May. You can find tickets at marjoleinerobertson.com. If you liked this, be sure to check back for new episodes every Thursday. And if you want to earn yourself a VIP place in hell, why not subscribe to our Patreon? You'll get extended guest episodes, find out how Marjolein Robertson would dispose of her body, and extra bonus episodes every month, with prices starting at just 75 pence per week. What is a pence, Dane?
I think you know what a pence is, hun. A pence is what the children are paid to make your wigs.
Thank you. So, yeah, they are. They do a really good job.
But what we'd love more than anything is for you to get your forked tongues flipping, spread word about our podcast, tell your girls, tell your gays, tell everyone. And if you wanted to leave a 5-star review, we invite you to. 5 stars is the minimum, or otherwise Dan starts to fall to a 7.
Yeah, I reduce at a rate of knots.
And always, if you want to submit any confessions or grievances for our infernal judgment, you can write to us at judgment@hellpod. hellpod.com or send us every
Keep it in.
fucking time.
Keep going.
Send us a message on socials at the hellpod or use the anonymous form on our website hellpod.com.
Thank you, as always, to Spotify for allowing us to use their gorgeous studios, and to the angels at Auburn Jam, who made our fabulous music, and to our wonderful producer, Yanis. See you next week.
Bye.